So hey, this is basically how I created this video. I hope this thing is recording and the sound is clear because I'm doing this just once. It's already quite late, but let's get to it. First, I have my background video right here. I only need like 5-10 seconds from this. So first thing is to take a screenshot of this. You can either use DaVinci Resolve to take the screenshot, or you could just take it yourself using your snipe tool and just draw on this exact line. Yeah. Then open FSpy. If you don't know how to use FSpy, I have a tutorial where I broke this entire thing down. It's on YouTube, it's for free. I would link it so you can easily find it. So let's drop that image here. Let me turn off the dim so I can see the image. And we're using, let's say we're using Y and minus Z. I know I'm using minus Z because when I used Z, it wasn't standing upright, it was upside down. So let's see how this one will be. Okay, let me use this side. Basically line it up with the Z axis. Yeah, it's upright. And then for the Y, I'm going to take the Y and line it up with this line on the floor. This one here, and this one should be here. So yeah, we have our data here. So you can just save this, Ctrl S, and save it as whatever we want. Say VFX day 1. Yeah. Now when we go to Blender, if you have followed the tutorial I pointed you to, and you go to File, Import FSpy. If you have installed FSpy, if you have followed that tutorial and you've learned how to install FSpy, just click this and go find your document. So VFX day 1. Yeah, this is pretty much it. I like to carry my camera up so it's above the grid. Yeah. You see how the lines are aligning with the lines on the floor. Cool. So if I add a plane here just to test it, and I add a cube, and I bring it up one step in the edit mode, I should be able to see it in the camera view looking good. Just to test it out, I do this every single time. I'm trying to crank this out really fast. So let's go to cycles, then make sure this is it's a shadow catcher. Yeah, cool. Now the lighting is all dull. Before we do that, let's go to render, film, set this to transparent, and then go to world. I like to use an HDRI. This was a very cloudy day, so I'll find a cloudy HDRI. This urban street will do. Nice. You see, now you have your light shadows. It's hard to tell there are shadows here because it's so cloudy. Let's try this one. Yeah, you can see the shadows now. You can clearly tell that there's a shadow there. We'll change it later when we're done. Move this cube to where we want the final product to be. Let's say here. Yeah, and then let's drag this cube down. So in edit mode, do GZ2 minus 2 actually. Yeah, so let it line up with the floor. Yeah, we can take out this plane. We wouldn't actually use it. And depending on how big you want your hole to be. So if I hit Scale Shift Z, yeah. Let me also bring this bottom downwards. So face select and pull this down. So it's a deep hole. Yeah. So the next thing we need to do is to separate the top face. So in edit mode, make sure you're in face select. Click this P to separate selection. Now I would have two different objects. You can move this one around. Yeah, so since this is pretty much a flat plane and you want our hole to have like a proper depth, like a 3D depth, we're going to extrude it. So in edit mode, make sure everything is selected, then EZ to extrude downwards. So yeah, it would be like a thick object now. Let's rename this box to hole. and this one to cover or top or something. Next, we're going to go into edit mode again and duplicate this face of the cover, like the top face of the cover, and then P to separate it. Now we have the hole, we have the cover, and we have this top. This top is going to be our holdout. Basically what we are going to use to mask where the hole is supposed to be, to tell Blender, hey, take out the remaining objects and just focus on the hole. Call it holdout, just to make things clear. And now next thing to do is to go into edit mode for this holdout. Make sure everything is selected. Scale, no, and then hit extrude, then scale. Yeah, trying to create a holdout, basically the rest of the hole. So let's scale it up this big. Yeah, so you don't want anything to show under this. So hit X and faces to delete the extra faces. But say we didn't do that, as you can see, they are overlapping. Blender creates a new face. So yeah, make sure it's deleted. And then finally, we'll delete this face of the holdout, not like the top face that we created. This holdout, just this middle one, X, delete. So we deleted the face. So our holdout is like has like a hole in between. And then this cover is what is inside. So we need to tell Blender now that this is a holdout. So I'm going to object properties and under visibility, choose holdout. Now we'll only be able to see this in the rendered view. Now in the rendered view, you now see that because I set this as holdout, you can no longer see the box underneath. So if I turn it off, you'll be able to see everything underneath. But if I turn it on, you just see the floor. Yeah, this box is covered. Nice. So let's go to shader editor now. And for this cover, we want to create two materials. So in the material tab, create one. Call this soil. And create another one and call this, what should we call this? Top. Yeah. Hit the slash key to make sure just this is selected. Yeah. So the next thing you want to do is to select the top face and assign it to this top. Just click assign. Then click Ctrl I to invert the selection and assign it to the soil. So let's make the soil black for now. I used a ground texture that I found online. So you can use whatever texture you want. I used something that looked more realistic than this. Now hit the slash key to bring everything back. Now for this soil material, let's delete the Principled BSDF and add an image texture, and then open and choose the screenshot that you took. So the screenshot of the background video. Oh, we are doing it for the wrong material. All of these should be for the top. So let's undo all of that. And yeah, make sure you are on the top material. And do the same exact thing. Open and choose the screenshots. Yeah, now it will look very weird. He's just going to cut out a weird part of the frame. Now make sure your Node Wrangler add-on is enabled. Go to Edit Preferences, Add-ons, and search for Wrangler. Yeah, make sure this is enabled. Then click this image texture and hit Ctrl T to bring in your mapping and texture coordinate nodes. Now I want to connect this mapping node to window instead of UV. See, it was connected to UV. Now let's take it from window to vector. Yeah, now it looks more accurate. Oh, okay. The reason why it's having this difference in color, make sure you go to camera and background image and make sure it's like the opacity is up to 1, so it's full. And then the next thing you need to do is to go to render, color management, and make sure your view transform is set to standard, not AGX. Yeah, now it looks seamless. Standard is what normal images 2D footage is meant to look like. AGX is how you want your CG to look like, so you can have control over it. But whenever you're messing with background images like this, make sure it's in standard. Now let's go back to our cover object and add more geometry to this, because we basically want to bake the angle of this texture that we're looking at, this texture from this angle. We want to bake it to the view, so whenever we look from the camera angle, this is what we'd see, this kind of texture. So to do that, we need a lot more geometry than these flat planes. So Ctrl R to add loop cuts, scroll on your mouse so it's a lot, and do it on the other side too. Scroll. Now there's a lot more geometry for you to bake a texture into it. If you don't do this, it's going to stretch in weird ways. So I've made that mistake before. Now to make it stick to that angle, we want our animation to start from, say, frame 15. You'll go into edit mode, make sure everything is selected, hit A, U to unwrap, and project from view. Now let's look at it in the rendered view. Now I know it still looks weird now. I think you need to go back to shading, and we removed this from UV to window. Now after projecting from view, you take it back from the UV to vector, yeah. And now it looks like a normal material. Yeah, you can see. It's no longer looking at it through a window. It seems like it has stuck to the floor. Now this is a mistake I made, and if you're making VFX videos, kindly avoid this. There is a leaf on the floor, and the video's concept is to flip the floor. So this doesn't make any sense, because if the floor is flipping, the leaf is just sticking to it. Yeah, don't make that mistake. So yeah, this looks good. This is our floor. It looks like a floor. Now for the inside, for this hole, set the material to the same material we use for our soil. So soil. So when you bring it out, when you bring this top out, yeah, we see the hole of the same material as the side. Like basically just like when you cut a cake, the inside of the cake and the outside of the piece of cake should have the same material. Now to the animation. Basically what I did, the first 15 seconds of the video was just nothing, 15 frames, I mean, nothing was happening, and then it flipped. So for the flip at frame 15, let's use N to bring this out at frame 15. Let me add a location keyframe, and then let's say it flips up, yeah, at frame, say, 90. Let's add another keyframe. You can still adjust this later. So at frame 90, let's, not frame 90. Let's try frame 60, yeah. Let's raise it up. Yep, and add a new keyframe. And say frame 120, let's bring it down. Yeah. And check where it has left the floor. Yeah, from somewhere around here, from 30. Let's add a, is it X I used? Yeah, X rotation keyframe. And right before it comes down to somewhere here, let's do a 360 and insert another keyframe, so it should look good. Yeah. Now just use your graph editor to make it look nice. Shift F6 to pull in the graph editor. Let's look at the first location keyframe. I want it to pop up. So let's drag this here and drag this here. So it starts slowly, then it moves really fast and goes up, yeah. Then goes down slowly. Cool. Then for the X, I don't think we need to do much about this. Yeah, let's just keep it like this. Yeah. So depending on the object you're using, let me drop my coffee cup. Let me drop my coffee cup in here. So depending on the object you are using, to determine how low you are going to make this cover get. So let's say we are trying to let's bring this in so it's out of frame so we can't see it. Yeah, so this is how low you want this cover to get. The Z location, the second Z location, you want it to actually get this low. Yeah, something like this. Replace single keyframe. Yeah, let's see how that looks. Cool. Now at this keyframe, or let's give it like 5 frames, what we want is for this cover to start rising back up. So hit the location and add a new keyframe, insert single keyframe, and say at 160. Let's raise it back up. So copy this one here and paste it here. Yeah, so it comes back up. Now at this 120, when it goes down, you want it to attach to the cup. So at this point, yeah, you want the cup to attach to it. So click the cup, then click the cover, Ctrl P, object. Now when you're coming back up, it's coming up with you. Now the thing is, in the beginning now, this is going to look weird. A quick way to solve this is you don't want to see the cup until it's ready to come out. So one thing you can do is make the cup appear at 120. So if you go to object and visibility, in render you can hit the keyframe, make sure these two are checked, then go back 1 frame, then uncheck it and hit the keyframe again. So the cup will appear at this point. Yeah, so it goes up, spins, drops, and the cup rises up. Yeah, it was just a random idea I came up with. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. The rest is just details, you know, like making this an actual ground texture. And also, yeah, instead of using holdout for this, what we call holdout, we can use shadow catcher instead. So if we uncheck holdouts and see everything comes back up, and we click shadow catcher, yeah, that's the better one. Holdout won't catch your shadows for you. So yeah, I think this is better. You can now see the shadow on it while it's coming. Good. So let's set the light to a cloudy day, because these shadows are not realistic at all. Yeah, now this is a cloudy day. It matches the environment a lot better. Yeah, so that's basically how I got this thing done, man. And when I rendered this, I rendered just the animation, the CG portion of it. Like if I hit render now, just the cup, the floor, whatever is CG, I rendered it, and then yeah, I just copied it and dropped it in DaVinci Resolve. I didn't do a lot of compositing, I just did some color corrections. Yeah, it's a pretty simple shot. It's just it gave me a headache at some point. So hope you learned something from this, hope you enjoyed it or whatnot. Tomorrow I'll drop another one. This is really crazy. I have no idea why I'm still doing this, but yeah, let's get it.